suspended classes. After nearly a decade of negotiations, the Philippines and 14 other nations signed the world's biggest free trade agreement yet, representing a third of the global economy. And space missions enter a new commercial era as 4 astronauts are launched into space on board SpaceX's privately owned spacecraft. We begin tonight's big story with the NDRRMC seeking to place the entire island of Luzon under a state of calamity. In a statement, the council said they agreed to make the recommendation to President Duterte to better address the impact of typhoons Quinta, Rolly, and Ulysses. The NDRRMC will also convene a technical working group of its own joint prevention, mitigation, and preparedness clusters to assess dam management across the country. As of today, the confirmed death toll due to Typhoon Ulysses climbed to at least 67. The number of injured individuals is at 21, while families affected by the calamity have risen to more than 500,000. NDRRMC Chairperson and Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana has ordered Pag-asa to revisit its historical data and strengthen its warning signals before a typhoon hits the Philippines. Lorenzana also defended the Council's preemptive measures against Typhoon Ulysses. He said residents should also be responsible to take preventive action.
Palagay ko naman din na nagkulang ng NDRRMC na pag-alert, Kasi ako mismo nakakatanggap ako ng alert sa telephone ko na nagsasabing may malakas na pagdating ng ulan, yung mga nasa mababang lugar, lumikas kayo. Na pangalawa, itong mga tao rito, alam naman nilang binabaha ito Hindi lang pwede kaming i-charge sa NDRRMC na nagkulang kami.
Meanwhile, agricultural damage from Ulysses is now at 2.14 billion pesos in regions 1, 2, 3, Calabarzon, Bicol, and Cordillera. Agriculture Secretary William Dar said rice supply will remain sufficient.
Ang damage out of the rice ay equivalent to 6 days. Okay, 6 days. Pero mayroon tayo naman inventaryo na 98 days. So, sumatotal, we have still 92 days na inventory sa rice.
Cagayan's local government is touting the recent flooding in the province as the worst since the 1970s. Flooding, in fact, has yet to recede in some parts of Cagayan. Romel Lopez is on the ground to tell us more. Romel, are authorities still on rescue mode?
Yes, Robbie, the local government has shifted from rescue to relief operations. This as floodwaters continue to subside. But authorities fear that this will be the new normal for the province as flooding worsens through the years. Staring at his house in rice fields still submerged in flood, Noli of Umulong town in Cagayan can't help but recall the horror of the flood water reaching the rooftop.
Siguro ko, sabi ko, ito na siguro yung katapusan namin, sir, dahil sa sobrang laki ng tubig Ang inaalala ko, mga bata dito, masakali. Di bali kami malalaki. Sobra.
Some communities also remain flooded, forcing residents to build makeshift tents along the road. They are now appealing for help, particularly food, water, after the devastation left them with nothing.
Mga tubig, sir. Mga bigas, ganun, mga ulam, lahat-lahat na, sir. Wala kang mahirap kasi nangako ngayon, sir.
Bakit naman sabing mahirap
Paano? Walang nakuha namin na ani na palay, sir.
In the capital city of Tuguegarao, typhoon victims scrambled for anything they might get from donations.
Wala ho kaming mapagkuhanan ng pagkain ngayon. Tsaka yung supply ng tubig tsaka kuryente, wala. Tsaka signal, wala rin.
Kaya yung ganyan mga tulong,
malaking tulong na rin po sa amin. Kaya nga nandito kami sa labas, nakikipagsapalaran.
In the city alone, more than 120,000 individuals have been affected by the flooding caused by Ulysses. At least 47 out of 49 barangays here are still submerged in flood water. Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba noted that the flooding brought by Ulysses is the worst in 45 years.
1975 daw yung last na ganito. Pero ang nangyayari kasi we had this last year. And a week ago nandito rin kayo. nagiging parte na ng buhay namin ito, and we feel that it is also worsening at the same time.
Mayor Jefferson Soriano admits that they are having a hard time managing their funds to help the residents.
Mahirapan talaga kung kami lang kasi ubos-ubos na rin kami sa COVID, di ba? Ubos-ubos na rin kami sa COVID, kaya umaasa kami sa mga tulong at saka mga tulong ng national government.
Soriano was out of town at the height of the calamity to celebrate his birthday. He explained that they did not expect the floodwaters to be that big. Officials said he wanted to return to the province immediately, but the NLEX was also flooded. Mayor Soriano insists that he is on top of the situation as he had already convened his key officials. On Sunday, President Rodrigo Duterte went to Cagayan to assess the situation. Hours before his arrival, Vice President Leni Robredo was already present, bringing with her provisions for the affected residents. Robredo clarified it was not her intention to compete with other officials.
Maganda nga na para nag-spread out din kami kasi hindi lang kami ni Presidente, pati yung ibang government officials. Tingin ko pag mga incidents na ganito, nakakatulong sa pag-boost ng moral ng mga tao na nakikita kami.
For now, floodwaters have yet to subside in 26 city and municipalities. Officials estimate that at least 393,000 Cagayanons have been affected by the calamity.
Robbie, the LGU said its relief and rescue efforts will carry on until it salvages the very last victim. Magat Dam is still releasing water as we speak, but only through a single floodgate this time. Robbie?
Maraming salamat, Romel Lopez. Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba wants the Magat Dam management to be held accountable for the flooding in the province. Mamba says the province, which is now in a state of calamity, has not seen such magnitude of flooding in more than 4 decades. They are now looking to file a class suit against the watershed's administrators. He says the spilling activities worsened the flooding.
Kung tutuusin po, the province of Cagayan, wala pong pakinabang dyan. Talagang kailangan din po na makialam kami, hindi lang makialam, makikoordinate sa amin. Kailangan din po siguro, tingnan din nila yung kanilang watershed.
Environment Secretary Roy Simatu did not answer directly if he supports the filing of a class suit. He said that he has yet to study nor confirm if the National Irrigation Administration had lapses in handling Magat Dam. Simatu noted that prior to the dam's release of water, heavy rainfall had already caused 18 river systems near the province to overflow and force massive flooding.
Kung idagdag mo lahat yung total volume of rain, i-compare mo sa capacity of the Cagayan River, ay talagang sumobra. I cannot simply say that malaki ba ang pag-release sa Magat River. That should still be, that should still be properly investigated or studied.
President Rodrigo Duterte over the weekend ordered Simatu to look into mining and logging activities in Cagayan. Simatu says they have already released a cease and desist order against illegal small-scale mining activities in the province. Apart from floods, the recent spate of typhoons exposed another problem: sinkholes and fissures. A look at these dangers in this report by Jenny Dongon.
In this part of Malilipot, Albay, Milagros and her family can't help but worry that their house might soon vanish. A large hole was found near their place. This aerial shot shows a terrifying view of the huge hole which almost was washed out a part of the road.
Takot na kami nakatanaw doon kung saan nadadaan yung yung tubig. Di makatulog sa gabi.
Milagros and her family had no choice but to leave their home of 50 years.
Ilang pagtatrabaho namin, hanap buhayan namin, pinagawa ng bahay, tapos mawawala lang kami doon.
It's the same case for Giselle's family. The ground started eroded due to flash floods.
Kasi malakas na yung tubig, tapos yun, kasi bumabagsak na yan, rinig talaga namin. Puno yan bulawan ng tubig.
Local officials said the huge hole appeared in Barangay San Roque after the series of typhoons.
Yung tubig po na galing doon sa taas, na-impact yung lahat na tubig na galing sa taas. Pagkatapos doon sa baba, mayroon tubig kaya parang yung dalawang malakas na tubig.
There are about 50 houses in the danger zone. Some have evacuated but refuse to seek shelter in evacuation centers due to the risk of COVID-19. Local officials continue to ask their constituents to abandon the area for their own safety. In Olongapo City, a sinkhole was also found along the Sigsag National Road of Calaklan Highway. It's near the public cemetery located across the road. The Department of Public Works and Highways immediately sent a team to fix the area to avoid untoward incidents. In San Nicolas, Batangas, huge fissures that formed after Taal volcano's eruption widened after Typhoon Ulysses. 9-foot fissures also formed in Barangay Bangin. 80 families in the 5-meter buffer zone of the fissures were asked to relocate. In Taal, Batangas, authorities cordoned off 5 big fissures which appeared in some barangays. FIVOX explained that the fissures widened and deepened due to the rains brought by the series of typhoons.
Dahil nagkaroon tayo ng maraming pag-ulan, mas na-enhance ng rainfall yung pagiging exposed ng mga fissures na to, lumubog yung mga sediments natin at mas na-expose ng mga fissures sa lugar.
FIVOX also reminds the public to avoid building houses above fissures to prevent incidents. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, PR1 News.
We'll go for a quick break. When the big story returns, classes in Marikina will be put on hold for a month. But will that be enough for families to recover? And the passage of the 2021 budget might have to hurdle one more challenge. Lawmakers want an augmented budget to bounce back from the calamity. The details later. Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay. Marikina has suspended classes for a month to give residents enough time to recover from Typhoon Ulysses. But is 1 month enough for parents and students to get back on their feet? Mean Los Baños tells us.
Evacuation centers in Marikina City are filled with children playing while their parents are back in their homes to clean following the onslaught of Typhoon Ulysses. Grade 10 students Donna and Fiona lament how they failed to save any of their school supplies, including their modules.
Lahat ng module nyo, sira? Opo, basang-basa po, lahat po. Nagmadali na po kasi kami, tumataas na po yung tubig eh. Tsaka pinangmadadali po kami kasi ni Papa eh. Basta makuna daw po kami, maligtas daw po kami, huwag na muna daw unahin ng module.
Mayor Marcy Chodoro announces that classes in Marikina will be suspended for a month starting Monday, November 16. He says this will give way for the reproduction of modules and other distance learning materials which have been destroyed by the typhoon. Students and teachers in Marikina could also use the time to clean up and rehabilitate their homes, according to Chodoro.
Makaka-reproduce ng modules, mabigay ulit yung mga modules sa mga bata, ma-clear natin ng putik yung mga kabahayan nila dahil paano makakapag-klase yung bata? Miski may module siya, miski may hawak siyang gadget, kung nakalubog sa putik yung kanyang paa habang nag-aaral. We need to establish the proper environment.
But for some parents, 1 month is not enough.
Bago ako sa buhay. Yun lang po. Kasi, sinabayan ng bagyo. Wala ka nang pera. Hindi iisipin mo na nga yung mga pambayad sa bahay, ilaw, tubig. Wala ka pang makain, wala ka pang trabaho, tapos nabaha ka pa. Walang-wala.
Castillo says she would not go back to her dilapidated house if she had her way. She now fears a similar experience in the years to come. The mayor has assured residents, including Castillo, that the National Housing Authority will provide materials to help them build shelters.
To a safer area or to an established relocation center. Merong relationship na ang Marikina at ang TESDA, merong relocation area sa Antipolo na kung saan ay maaaring doon mag-relocate.
Based on the initial assessment of the Marikina LGU, damage to properties inflicted by Ulysses could be between 40 to 50 billion pesos. To date, some 50,000 houses in Marikina are still covered in thick mud. Some residents have gone tired of scraping off dirt every time a strong typhoon comes.
Ito siguro after ng lilipat na rin kami. Naghahanap na rin kami ng malilipatan para hindi na kami magtiis dito, sobrang hirap. Lagi na lang binabaha.
Over in Provident Village, which also witnessed the wrath of Ondoy in 2009, small payloaders and volunteer fire brigades are helping in the cleanup. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
Some parts of Rizal will also suspend classes from November 16 to 20. In DepEd Calabarzon's latest memorandum, distance learning activities are suspended in 5 municipalities. These would include Rodriguez, San Mateo, Cainta, Taytay, Baraspinugay, and the upland of Tanay. Some universities have also held off classes due to the aftermath of the typhoon. The University of Santo Tomas suspended its synchronous and asynchronous classes from November 16 to 21 as requested by some students and academic staff. The Polytechnic University of the Philippines also announced an academic break on all year levels until November 27 to give students and faculty members time to recover. The University of the Philippines will also pause its classes and activities up to November 21. Meanwhile, Ateneo de Manila Universities also halted classes from November 16 to 21. Asynchronous activities will resume after the said dates, but synchronous classes will remain suspended from the 23rd up until the 28th. Some Ateneo students also called for an academic strike beginning Wednesday in protest against the government's supposed neglect in handling calamities. Para spokesman Harry Roque warned Ateneo students that they might fail if they do not adhere to academic requirements, but Roque said the students have the right to protest while universities can fail students who refuse to pass requirements. And these are the other big stories today. As donations pour in for victims of Typhoon Ulysses, the NDRRMC is warning the public to be cautious of fake solicitors. The agency urged those who want to donate to verify first the background of the organizations and groups they are transacting with. Several netizens posted on social media their experience of being scammed by bogus donation drives claiming to raise funds for victims of the recent calamities. After notching the keys to the NAIA rehabilitation project, meanwhile, Megawide Corporation said they are just finalizing requirements from NEDA that will be submitted this week. The company allayed concerns on its financial capability to finance the project with their allotment of 109 billion pesos for the rehabilitation plan. Megawide is also proposing a new design for the national airport, taking inspiration from the Banawi rice terraces, that's according to its officials. Newly minted police chief Debold Sinas thanked President Rodrigo Duterte, who came in his defense over the Mañanita controversy. Sinas said he is happy but embarrassed at the same time that he still has Duterte's trust and confidence. The president said he will pardon Sinas because the Mañanita, which violated strict quarantine protocols, has supposedly no moral implications. Justice Secretary Minato Guevara, however, pointed out that executive clemency is only possible after someone is found guilty. Representatives of typhoon-hit areas are appealing for a bigger budget allocation in 2021. Some lawmakers are proposing a possible Bayanihan 3 law. How might this impact the passage of the 2021 budget? Rhea Fernandez tells us.
The House of Representatives resumed session Monday with a full plate of priority bills to tackle and dispense. Topping the list is the proposed 4.5 trillion peso national budget. Speaker Lord Alan Velasco said they target to have the General Appropriations Bill signed by the President before the year ends. He said the measure is the government's single most powerful tool against COVID-19. He hopes Congress will ratify the BICAM report before the holiday break on December 19. But a number of lawmakers, especially from flood-hit provinces, appealed for budget augmentation. Isabela 1st District Representative Tony Pet Albano showed his colleagues the devastation in his jurisdiction via a live report of his aerial inspection.
These are actually in the aftermath was just a sea of water from the Cagayan River all the way to the home, the municipio and all the way to those mountains over there. We do get a bigger allocation, especially that yearly we have this problem with flooding.
Congressman Ino D, who also hailed from Isabela, appealed for help not only for their province but also for other affected areas.
We hope allocations can be earmarked so that we will be able to help our kababayans in the north rebuild, recover, and rebound from the damage caused by this typhoon.
Marikina's 2nd District Representative Stella Kimbo bats for a Bayanihan 3 worth at least 340 billion pesos.
Bayanihan 3 should institutionalize a long-term plan for economic resilience to be formulated by NEDA. Kailangan ng cash for work, cash for cleanup, cash for home building. Kailangan ng subsidy para sa yero at plywood.
Prior to this, House North Luzon Special Committee Chairperson Ramon Guico III said he filed a bill seeking to extend Bayanihan 2 until January 31 next year in response to the onslaught of typhoons. Speaker Velasco, together with Majority Leader Martin Romualdez and Minority Leader Joseph Paduano, are calling for an immediate probe on the cause of massive flooding in Cagayan and Isabela. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
Let's pause for another break. When we return, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership comes into force as the Philippines and 4 other economies ratify the world's biggest free trade deal. And NASA just launched its first full-fledged human mission with a privately owned space vehicle. A look at the takeoff after the break. Good evening, I'm Robbie Alampay. You're still watching The Big Story. As economies worldwide strive to stay afloat following economic hits by the COVID-19 pandemic, ASEAN member states and other top trading partners have signed a long overdue trade pact considered the biggest one yet. What does this mean for the country? Camille Samonte explains.
After 8 years of talks, the Philippines, along with all member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, formally signed on Sunday one of the world's largest regional free trade agreements. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, makes cross-border trade simpler as it further opens market access for member countries. The pact was signed in a virtual ceremony during the annual ASEAN Summit in Hanoi, Vietnam. Signatories include the country's top trading partners such as China, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and South Korea. The participating countries account for a third of the world's population, while the trade deal is seen to impact 30% of the global economy and some 2 billion consumers. Lopez said RCEP signing is not only a milestone for ASEAN, but a welcome development for the Philippines. A provision dedicated to support micro, small, and medium enterprises is also a key feature in the agreement. It is seen to help small businesses penetrate the global value chain. An economist said the Philippines may benefit from the accord since it provides a wider market for export products.
Ibig sabihin, lalawak yung potentially na pwede nating bentahan ng mga produkto natin at low to zero tariff, no? Pati produkto, pati serbisyo. Kailangan pagtuunan din ng pansin yung mga produkto na pwede nating pang mas mailabas, no? Sa ibang bansa, mas maibenta pa natin.
Concerns over the country's competitiveness in the bigger trade arena have been the subject of numerous discussions. There are views that stakes are lower now, with most economies focused on recovering from the pandemic. Among the benefits of the pact include the elimination of tariff on at least 92% of traded goods among participating countries, as well as stronger provisions to address non-tariff measures. The deal also seeks to improve areas in data privacy, transparency, and paperless transactions. The RCEP is also the first time that China, Japan, and South Korea are all in a single free trade pact, but all eyes are now on the United States. The world superpower has yet to ink major trade agreements since outgoing President Donald Trump assumed office in 2016. Trump pulled the U.S. from the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal early in his term and has waged a multi-billion-dollar trade war against China. U.S. President-elect Joe Biden, however, is unlikely seen to revive the Pacific trade deal negotiated by the Obama admin. This leaves the world's biggest economy out of two trade groups. Many are now in the lookout how the new leadership in the White House will change things.
So yung US, hindi naman siya maisang tabi dahil bawat bansa may relasyon pa rin naman sa kanya. Hindi ibig sabihin na hindi ka bibili sa US o hindi magiging merkado ng US. It's still a major global market.
In a speech in the ASEAN summit, President Rodrigo Duterte called on his fellow leaders in Southeast Asia and the U.S. to continue pursuing partnerships to further develop the region. The country is looking to bounce back next year after plunging to a recession in the second quarter amid strict coronavirus lockdowns. However, it may be an uphill climb from there, with some financial houses and multilateral seeing Philippines slump as the worst in the region. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
In entertainment, Angel Locsin is taking to task the Education Department over its apology for a PE module that described her as obese. In a statement, DepEd's Occidental Mindoro Division apologized. They said that the agency does not condone acts of body shaming or bullying. The division head noted that the material was only a teacher-made assessment. It is not included in the DepEd's approved modules. But in an Instagram post, Locsin said she was bothered by how the agency seemed unaffected that an educator is teaching bad conduct and sowing discrimination among children, close quote. Locsin called on the teacher to apologize to his students and every other student who has read the module. One other controversy involving the actress might be coming to a close. Meanwhile, Locsin had met with NTF-ECLAC official Antonio Parlade yesterday. In a reposted photo, Locsin confirmed that the two camps have, quote, discussed, threshed out, and cleared issues, including Parlade's accusations that Locsin and her sister have ties with the New People's Army. Let's go to the next item. SpaceX launches 4 astronauts into a 20-hour journey to the International Space Station. Crew Dragon includes Americans Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, and Japanese Soichi Noguchi. The mission holds a number of firsts. Glover is the first black astronaut to embark on a long-term space mission. Noguchi is the first person to launch on 3 different types of aircraft after almost 40 years. This is also NASA's first full-fledged mission aboard a privately owned spacecraft. That marks a new era of commercial space vehicles. Crew Dragon named their capsule Resilience in light of issues such as COVID-19 and racial injustice. Resilience is expected to reach the station late Monday, and it should return to Earth in May 2021. I'm Robbie Alampay, and that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250. Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Ngayong taon, marami tayong hinaharap na hamon, pero kayang-kaya basta tayo'y magtutulong-tulong. Tuloy-tuloy tayo, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko.
Anumang hamon ng mundo, Pasko. Wala nang regalo, ang hiling ko sana'y laging masaya tayo. Nandito tayo, dumaramay, handang tumulong at magbigay upang bumutik, sumaya ating buhay. Nandyan at abot kamay, tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko.
Kapit sa pag-asa, sama-sama, pangarap ng isa't isa. Nasa ating piling, kakaibang hilig, ngiti ay naririnig. Nandito tayo, dumaramay, handang tumulong at magbigay upang bumuti, sumaya ating buhay. Narito't hawak kamay, tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Sarili alagaan, kapwa'y tulungan, huwag pagsasaluhan, tuloy ang pagdiriwang. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Tayo'y maging liwanag ng Pasko. Tulong-tulong tayo, tayo'y liwanag, ikaw at ako, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko.
Cagayan Valley and Isabela have lost billions of pesos because of damage to infrastructure and agriculture caused by the flooding from Typhoon Ulysses.